So yes, the trustees were absolutely thrilled to partner with the Sharon Cooperative School, downtown Sharon. They have been operating a preschool there for many decades, and the executive director, Abigail Marsters, she was very interested in starting a nature-based preschool. And she had worked for years. In fact, I think it was maybe a decade before she connected with the trustees, and the timing worked out well for using Moose Hill Farm as the campus for the nature-based preschool. And the school opened just last month, and it's just been a wonderful experience and truly in line with the trustees' mission. It's everything Abigail had hoped it would be, so it's been a terrific start to this nature-based preschool. It's been fabulous to be able to introduce the kids to all the wonders of nature that they can find, especially here on Moose Hill Farm, where we have woodlands, wetlands, meadows. So there's just lots of wonders to discover, and the kids do a great job of discovering. They're naturally inquisitive and curious, and once they're onto something, they just master it. So it's really a beautiful thing to see. So today we did what we call the loop. That takes us through the pastures where we often see cows, like we did today. It also takes us by what the kids like to call the campsite. It's this little sheltered area with some stones, and they like to gather around. We have pretend fires. We have pretend marshmallow toasting, sometimes story time in there. The trail also takes us through what the kids like to call Spider Meadow, because one of their first experiences with the meadow happened to be just after a nice misty rain. So all the webs were clear as a bell. So forevermore, it's Spider Meadow, although it changes with amazing regularity from day to day. After we go through Spider Meadow, we went through what we call Fern Woods. So that particular wooded area is chock full of beautiful ferns, and it's quite magical there. And then that led us across the power lines into the other section, another wooded area, different from fern woods in feel. We actually have the pleasure of having some American chestnuts on this property. So that trail we tend to refer to as the American Chestnut Trail that leads us over the bridge. So that portion becomes the bridge trail to one of our favorite spots in that area, which is one of the cellar holes from an old homestead that used to be here on this property. This property has been used agriculturally since the 1600s. So there are remnants of homesteads. There's a lovely old cellar hole that there's some trees down, and of course there's downhills and uphills that the area provides. It turns into a fabulous playground for jumping and running and balancing, and also nature exploration. Like today, one of the children, they're becoming masters at finding redback salamanders. They're always interested in seeds. They'll find all sorts of larvae, eggs. And then of course they're physically, that's the beautiful thing, I think, about the nature-based preschool. And there's a lot of focus on science in nature and learning about the environment, which is all very important. But these kids are using their bodies in so many ways. They're physically getting strong. It's a wonderful thing to see. Their endurance is amazing. We thought the hike like we did today, we thought we would do that in the spring. We ended up doing it on the second day of school. So you saw that they really had no problem navigating that, and it was quite a significant loop. Then from the play area, we made our way back to the school. That takes us through some wetlands and back into what we like to call the Solar Meadow. That's because the meadow we went by that's closest to the school, that has a series of solar panels, maybe 4 or 5, and they actually rotate with the sun. So it's really fun to always ask them, I bet you know what direction the sun is or where the sun is. So we also incorporate, it's nice to be able to incorporate renewable power into our, and sustainability into our daily routine. It's child-led inquiry. So these kids, they are encouraged to discover on their own, ask questions about what they're interested in, and then we really just run with what they want to learn about. So, and often, of course, it is seasonal. You'll notice that, they're interested in insects when we get here because those meadows are chock full of insects in September. And then now, of course, there's a lot of interest in leaves because we are surrounded with these beautiful colors and they're under our feet, and lots to learn about that. So the kids definitely lead in the learning process, and that's a really important part of it because then they own it. They're becoming terrific learners. I think what kindergarten teachers want are kids that are going to be good learners, that are they demand to know, and they want to know, and it's exactly what we encourage here. And then they really do learn. I'm amazed at what these kids retain and what they share with their parents. The parents tell me that they're learning so much, which is just fabulous. So that's a very important part of it. And it's also good, I think, socially, emotionally, mentally. Who doesn't feel better, after a walk in the woods? It's I feel like, the teachers are winning too, the kids. I feel like it's a really great learning environment, and for the whole person, not just, even though they are learning a lot of math and science and English, what kids would use traditionally, maybe we're using sticks to count instead of whatever, something more traditional in a traditional classroom. So we're definitely incorporating nature because we do want these kids to have an environmental education. We expect these kids to be stewards of the earth. So there is a lot of learning about how to handle when you have a redback salamander or a worm or any living thing, how to handle it and respect the natural world and learn about. I think that's one of the most amazing things is it's a very sensory experience. We learn through our senses, and these kids are learning how the world works through their senses. They're smelling it, they're tasting it, they're touching it. Of course, on the farm, we're also growing things. So there's a whole local food component. I feel like they're getting it all. So it's a very terrific learning experience. Everything's new. It's a new experience for the preschool. It's a new experience for the trustees. And there aren't a lot of nature-based schools around. They are growing exponentially. I think over 500% since 2014 or 20. Yeah, so they're really taking off. And I think because it does make sense. Kids are so overscheduled and they're inside. I remember there was this frightening statistic about I think children have maybe on average 7 minutes of unstructured play now a day. So this gives them significantly more time outside, unstructured, they're terrific explorers and making discoveries. And that kind of unstructured play, I think, enables a lot of those components I mentioned, like for child development, the emotional, the social, intellectual, physical well-being of the kids. So our plan is to try to bring the best of what the trustees can offer and the best of what the preschool can offer. So of course, the trustees, we have this beautiful campus, but we also have a lot of resources. So we have ecologists that can come in and talk about our pollinators. We have, of course, a lot of working farms. So we can have, although this is a working farm, we have other farms that have animals that may be more suited to come for a visit with the students. So we'll have visits from other farms and staff on those farms. So we plan to bring in a lot of trustees, experts to enhance the programs, including programs that we might have at other properties. Sometimes we invite owl experts to come in, and they can provide information to the kids and bring live animals in. Then the school, of course, is very good about historically bringing other components that you wouldn't associate with a nature-based preschool. For example, they bring in soccer, so the children can enjoy some soccer lessons in the afternoon. So there are offerings from the preschool that, more traditional offerings that do get incorporated too. So that we're definitely seeing the whole child. The goal of this nature-based preschool is the same goals that you would have in a traditional preschool. We want to have these children prepared and ready to be great learners in kindergarten. So we fully address all those needs. We're focusing on the subjects that they need to know. There's math, there's science, there's English, there's reading, there's writing. All of that is incorporated on a daily basis. You'll see even today when we were on the trail, the kids are finding letters or making letters with the sticks that they find. So the skills are being obtained. It's just how we go about it.